In the early 2000s, carrying your digital music meant stepping into an absolute free-for-all. Tech companies were battling over what a portable player should even look like and how it should handle your files. You had a wild variety of hardware competing for your pocket space. Devices like the Creative Nomad or the Arcos jukebox were bulky, experimental, and prioritized tech specs over a clean design. As a buyer, you faced a rigid choice. You could pay a premium to lock yourself into a closed, software-controlled ecosystem, or you could save money by braving the open territory of standard MP3 hardware. RCA and Thomson built their Lyra family to appeal directly to this open, hardware-focused philosophy. Every purchase involved a trade-off, a seamless software experience or total control over your hardware. The Thomson Lyra PDP 2862 and RCA RD 2800 models arrived with a spec sheet that seemed impossible. They offered live television recording and native DivX video playback right out of the box. They also included an SD card slot for memory expansion, and they let you drag and drop files directly onto the hard drive like a standard USB thumb drive. This comparison matrix shows exactly how aggressive their pricing was. You were getting live TV recording, video playback, and expandable memory for just $250. Competing devices were charging upwards of $399 just to play standard audio. So if the Lyra objectively gave you significantly more hardware for much less money, why did it lose the portable media war? Because raw hardware capabilities printed on a box do not automatically translate into a device you actually want to use every day. Let's look at the drag-and-drop file system. The immediate appeal is obvious. You don't need proprietary syncing software. You can plug the Lyra into any PC, grab your files, and go. This flowchart maps that open architecture. Without automated syncing software, the burden falls entirely on you. You manually create folders, drop files, and maintain the exact structure yourself. That sorting pathway breaks down when scaling to a 20-gigabyte hard drive. What works for 20 songs becomes an overwhelming administrative chore for 2,000. Because the device lacked smart software, you couldn't just import your favorite playlists. You had to sit with the player and manually tag and build your playlists, song by agonizing song, using the device's physical buttons. Having ultimate freedom over your file management sounds great, right? Right up until you have to personally sort tens of thousands of media files by hand. Then there's the hardware itself. Getting a 20-gigabyte hard drive for $250 in 2002 was a massive selling point, but RCA made a hardware compromise to hit that price. Instead of equipping the player with FireWire or the newer USB 2.0 standard, they used the aging USB 1.1 interface. Pushing 20 gigabytes of music through a USB 1.1 connection is an agonizingly slow process. We are talking about hours of physical transfer time just to fill the drive. That slow transfer speed actively discouraged you from ever updating your library. The friction was so high that you just listened to the same stale music rather than wait out another sync, defeating the entire purpose of having a massive hard drive. Thomson actually tried to solve this storage and speed problem by promoting MP3 Pro, a compression format that squashed files down to half the size. But the audio quality took a noticeable hit, and the format never gained traction. Having massive storage capacity is useless if the data pipeline required to fill it is crippled by budget constraints. Navigating the device was its own distinct challenge. The Lyra had to manage standard audio, recorded television, and an SD card reader all in one physical unit. To manage this, they made a physical design choice that increased complexity. Instead of a simple scroll wheel, they mapped the interface to a dual joystick layout. Using it is a jarring experience. You have to use the right stick to scroll through your options, but then switch over to the left stick to actually make your selection. That means finding a specific song requires vertical list hunting. You are forced to manually click the joystick down, line by line, through hundreds of artists in alphabetical groups. There is no fast scroll mechanism to speed it up. You can pack a device with premium features, but it doesn't matter if the physical interface makes finding those features infuriating. The ultimate example of the gap between the Lyra's marketing claims and the harsh reality of using it involves its premier feature, DivX video playback. The box proudly called it a portable video jukebox that supported DivX, but the device's internal software logic was so bizarre that it outright rejected files with the .divx extension, labeling them as incompatible. The only way to get your videos to play was a tedious manual workaround. You had to go into your computer and individually rename every single video file to an .avi extension just to trick the player into accepting it. In order to actually use the features printed on the front of the box, the Lyra required you to act as your own IT troubleshooter. This quadrant chart maps feature flexibility and openness against interface friction and hassle. The Lyra sits perfectly in that extreme top right corner. It was capable hardware trapped inside a terrible user interface. Today, the ideal buyer for a surviving Lyra is a retro archivist or a hardware tinkerer. If you want drag-and-drop freedom, AV inputs to record live analog video, and a surprisingly powerful headphone amp for cheap, it delivers. But you should absolutely avoid this device if you expect frictionless navigation, seamless library syncing, or fast file transfers. The Lyra remains a perfect monument to a simple rule in consumer tech. A feature is not an actual benefit if the effort required to use it outweighs the reward.